The war had ended long before I was born, or so the records said. Humanity had made its stand against the alien coalition known as the Kryth Dominion. The final battles burned Earth's colonies, tore apart fleets, and silenced every station one by one. My parents were engineers, survivors who had fled to one of the deep orbital bunkers meant to outlast the war. But outlast was a cruel word. Years stretched into decades, and supplies dwindled. People died. Some gave up and opened the airlocks themselves. By the time I reached adulthood, I was alone. Humanity, as far as I knew, was gone. Yet I refused to let the memory of us die. I spoke aloud in empty rooms, repeated the words of Shakespeare, and whispered my mother's lullabies just to hear the human tongue echo in metal corridors. My name, my own name, was all I had left to tether me to existence. That was why, when I finally heard her voice, I answered without hesitation. The middle, the stranger in the ruins. Her name when I asked was Sira. She was not Kryth, not the conqueror race I had always imagined, but from one of their subjugated species. She explained in broken words that she had been taken as a child by Dominion forces and raised within their war machine. But when the Dominion collapsed centuries ago, she had wandered the ruins, searching for fragments of those who had resisted. I was stunned. The Dominion had fallen. That meant humanity's sacrifice had not been meaningless. We had taken them down with us. Sira studied me with eyes that glistened like silver pools. She hovered closer, trembling as though my presence burned her. I was told, she whispered, that humans burned themselves out to defeat the Dominion, that none remained. But now you are here. Your voice, your name. It should be impossible. I didn't know what to say. For me, surviving had never been about destiny. It was simple stubbornness. One more ration pack. One more patch on a leaking hull. One more sunrise. But to her, my existence was a miracle. We began to speak. Long hours in the drifting dark. I told her about Earth, about the taste of rain on stone, about the way music could rise from nothing but air and vibration. She listened in rapt silence, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing with a sound so fragile I thought it would shatter. In return, she told me of wandering broken starships, of listening for voices in dead channels, of carving marks on the walls of empty stations so that someone someday would know she had existed. She had believed she was alone too, until I answered her call. The journey, proof of life. We scavenged the wreckage together. Her ship was little more than a shell, mine a failing bunker barely held together. But between us, piece by piece, we assembled something that could fly. During those long days of repair, she never tired of hearing me say my name. Aaron, she repeated carefully, as though memorizing it in her bones. Once, when she thought I was asleep, I heard her whispering it like a prayer. You don't understand, she confessed one cycle as we worked on a stabilizer. You're kind, you were more than fighters. You were symbols. To know a human still exists, it means hope has not been extinguished. It means endurance. Her words unsettled me. I was just a man clinging to survival. I wasn't a savior, not a messiah. Yet I could not deny the way her eyes shone each time I spoke, as though in my voice she heard proof of something greater. When the ship was finally patched and engines roared back to life, I thought our journey had reached its triumph. But the galaxy was not yet finished with us. The conflict, the keepers of silence. On our first jump into inhabited space, we encountered them, the Archivists. They were remnants of another species who had survived the Dominion only to seal themselves in isolation. To them, humanity's return was a danger. The idea of survivors threatened their carefully maintained myths of the past. They hailed us, demanding that I be handed over. They said humans were destabilizers, firebringers, and that if I lived, I would bring war back to the stars. Almost agreed. What was I compared to the fragile piece of whole systems? But Sira stood before me, defiant, her voice shaking the calms. You cannot silence him. He is proof that death is not the end. He is proof that hope endures. You fear him because you fear the truth, that humanity cannot be erased. The Archivists armed their weapons. I thought it was over. But Sira grabbed my hand and whispered, "Say your name." Confused I did. Aaron Coldwell. The sound carried across open channels, bouncing, amplified. To my astonishment, more voices joined. Scattered colonies, hidden refugees, species crushed beneath centuries of rule. They whispered my name, repeating it like a signal. Aaron, Aaron, Aaron. The Archivists faltered. Their unity cracked under the weight of countless voices declaring that one human alive was not a threat but a beacon. In the end, they retreated into silence, unable to suppress what had already begun to spread. The ending, a flame rekindled. We traveled for years afterward. Word spread faster than our ship could fly. Everywhere we went, eyes widened, voices trembled. Some wept, some knelt, some reached out in wonder. To them, my existence was not just survival. It was defiance against oblivion. I never grew comfortable with it. I was still just a man patching hull plates, rationing meals, learning to laugh again in the company of someone who believed in me. But I began to understand. Humanity had not only endured in body, it had endured in memory, in the dreams of those who had once fought beside us, in the hopes of strangers who had never met us but longed for proof that the fire we lit had not burned out. One night, as our ship drifted in orbit above a new colony, Sira turned to me. Do you know why I knelt that day? I shook my head. Because for generations, my people prayed that humans had not truly died. They said if even one survived, then all we had suffered was not for nothing. When you said your name, I knew the stories were true. You are proof, Aaron. Proof that humanity endures beyond death. I looked out at the stars, vast and cold, but no longer empty. The galaxy would never again be the same. Not because of me, but because of the simple truth that we had not been erased. I said my name once more, not as a whisper into the void, but as a declaration to the living universe. And across the stars, countless voices answered. Humanity was alive, and it would endure.